Artem occasionally has a dream in which he is always alone. Submerged in seawater, he struggles to stay afloat. His limbs are constricted, leaving him unable to break free. Deep down, he knows this is just a dream, but even so, he can't wake up, nor can he find his way within the dream. Should he let the currents take him, or should he head towards the calm waters? In a rare moment of indecision, he spots a distant island, its lighthouse flickering like a faint light. The storm rages as if it could easily shatter the island, while the light flickers so faintly that it might extinguish at any moment.
누가 있어?
He is so eager to reach the island that he is already on the move before he realizes it. Just a little more, and he'll be there.
여기서 멈출 순 없어.
He struggles fighting against the loneliness of drifting alone on the sea, perhaps to be wounded by risk, perhaps to lose his way once again. A ray of sunlight breaks through the clouds and falls upon him. He thinks about how fate has been so kind to him, blessing him with a beam of light even as he drifts.
이제 됐어.
Artem no longer feels the weight of his loneliness. At least when he reaches the shore, warmth still lingers in his hand. The end is no longer out of reach. Perhaps the sea in his dream is a sign of his life and his ideals. The waves will not subside and the storm will not cease. He can only rely on his purity and perseverance to survive in the mysterious and dangerous waters. Classroom. On the university's anniversary day, you and Artem are invited back to Stylus University, but things are a little bit different this time.
긴장돼요?
Artem caresses your right hand that is gripping the tablet. You shift your gaze away from the speech script you've memorized flawlessly and look at him. Every year on the anniversary, the university invites an alumnus as a representative to give a speech. For every graduate of Stylus University, this is a great opportunity to commemorate campus life and connect with fellow alumni. So, when the university invited you this year, you quickly agreed. However, right before going on stage, I'm a bit nervous. After all, it's a public speech, and the audience is full of distinguished alumni.
걱정하지 마요. 준비도 열심히 했고 나랑 여러 번 연습했으니 분명 문제 없을 거예요.
It feels different, when it's just you. Artem takes your hand and gently strokes the back of it with his thumb.
무대에서 연설할 때 당신 앞에 있을 거예요. 그저 조금 멀리 떨어져 있을 뿐이죠.
Yeah. Mulling over it won't be of any help, so you simply turn off the tablet screen. The classroom briefly falls silent. Your thoughts begin to drift to how Artem has been helping you prepare ever since you received the call from the university. Thinking of how well he knew the speech process and topic selection, you can't help but touch his arm. Hey, you must have been a representative of the alumni, right? When was that?
그때가 마침 당신이 졸업한 해였겠네요.
Huh, what a coincidence. You sigh as you imagine Artem standing on the podium. It's a pity. I was busy with my graduation thesis back then, so I missed that year's anniversary. Otherwise, I would have seen you give your speech. Artem also seems to recall that scene. He lowers his eyes and for a moment he seems thoughtful. Tell me about what happened back then. He ruffles your hair as usual and you hook your fingers with his, naturally taking hold of his hand. Both your hands overlap and hang from the bench, completely obscured by the desk.
사실 전에 했던 공개 연설과 크게 다르지는 않았어요. 하, 강당 마이크가 너무 낮았어요.
Recalling the awkward incident, Artem sighed softly, though his gaze you are drawn back to that moment. In the bright and spacious auditorium, spotlights fall evenly on the stage as Artem walks up amid continuous applause. He adjusts the lower microphone, but it doesn't help much as the applause gradually dies down as his speech is about to begin.
직원한테 다시 조정해 달라고 하기엔 늦어버려서 결국 허리를 약간 숙인 채로 끝까지 발표를 마쳤어요. 지금 생각해보니 가장 인상 깊었던 건 이런 좀 난처했던 작은 일이네요.
I don't think anyone in the audience would notice your embarrassment.
만약 그때 당신이 있었다면
Perhaps you could notice it. You thought Artem would see that, but he pauses and doesn't continue. You look at him in confusion, but the silence doesn't last long.
우리가 좀 더 일찍 파트너가 됐다면 좋았을 텐데요.
You mean me intending for you?
괜찮네요.
Like traveling back in time with him, if only back then. In the empty auditorium, Artem stands on stage with a spotlight following his every move, and you stand in the darkness, his only audience. Gradually, the auditorium is filled and you become part of the crowded audience. He is bathed in soft light, his expression gentle yet determined, while his gaze drifts into the distance.
왜 그래요?
You feel Artem grip your hand a little tighter, and you come back to your senses, shaking your head. It's nothing, I just suddenly thought of. How back then you were already a renowned attorney, even if I were at that anniversary watching your speech from the audience. I would have only seen you as someone who shines brightly, just like everyone said, never imagining that I could one day be your partner, or even your lover. You stare at the desk. There is a small crack in the upper left corner. Finding it a bit unsightly, you move your tablet to cover it up. Artem brushes aside the loose strands of hair near your ear, his fingertips caressing your ear before giving it a gentle pinch. It tickles, so you turn your head to look at him, only to meet his smiling eyes.
당신을 만나기 전까지는 파트너를 구할 생각도 없었어요. 당신이야말로 내 인생의 가장 중요한 전환점이에요. 그래서 처음에 당신이 나를 어떻게 생각했든 나한테 있어서 우리가 겪은 모든 일은 당연히 일어날 일이었어요. 좀 더 일찍 당신을 초대해야 했어요.
Autumn gives a regretful sigh, and you can't help but recall the moment when he invited you to become his partner. Why are you making it sound like you hesitated for a long time?
잠시 망설였던 것도 사실이니까요.
Huh? Autumn nods calmly as if he's hoping you'll keep asking, so you gently nudge his arm. So what finally made you decide?
당신의 뛰어난 실력 말고도 그때 나는 그냥
Footsteps echoing down the hallway interrupt him. A student pokes his head in through the back door and looks at you two before leaving in a hurry. Autumn glances at the time. There are still 20 minutes before your speech. Since there is still plenty of time to explain everything in detail, Autumn leans back in his chair and speaks in a slower pace.
처음부터 이야기를 해야겠네요. 그때 내가 맡고 있던 사건이 하나 있었어요.
And so, in Artem's narration, you hear a story you've never known before. Artem's office. Artem is a defendant's attorney in an assault case. A thick stack of case files is piled up on the desk as Artem reads through them carefully. The first trial has already concluded by the time he takes on this case. Hearing the knock on the door, Artem doesn't look up.
들어오세요.
Celestine pushes the door open and sits down in the chair in front of him.
아직도 바빠?
무슨 일로 저를 찾으신 거죠?
공익지원 사건 맡았다며? 피고 이름이 예진이라던데 맞아?
네. 갑작스럽게 결정한 건데 무슨 일인가요?
Artem finally stops working and pushes the case files forward a bit. With a small space cleared on the desk, he folds his hands and looks at Celestine.
재판 영상을 봐서 어느 정도는 알고 있어.
Celestine glances at the densely packed text on the case file.
예진은 민도연의 지속적인 도발과 폭행을 견디다 못해 반격했는데 민도연이 중상을 입고 말았지. 민도연은 아직도 중환자실에 누워있어. 둘이 실랑이 하다가 서로 주먹까지 오갔대. 그래서 결국 쌍방폭행으로 넘어갔지. 피고의 항소를 도와서 1심 판결을 바꾸는 건 쉬운 일이 아니야.
Artem moves his lips, but Celestine interrupts him before he can speak.
네 결정에 영향을 주려는 건 아닌데 이 사건을 맡게 되면 당분간 정신없이 바빠질 거야.
알고 있어요.
Artem gives an imperceptible nod, but it's clear that he has no intention of changing his mind.
그때 원고 측이 문제를 일으켜서 피고가 말리려다 되레 맞았고 본인도 1급 경상 판정을 받았죠. 예진 씨가 자기보다 사회적 지위가 낮다고 보고 반격은 못할 거라 생각하니까 민도연이 그렇게 거리낌 없이 굴었던 거예요. 그 사람은 그날 밤 예진 씨한테 무슨 일이 생겼더라도 돈으로 해결할 수 있었을 테니까요. 자신의 안전을 위협하는 불법 침해를 제지하기 위한 행위로 형법상 피고의 경우는 정당방위에 해당하죠. 따라서 1심 판결이 과중하다고 생각해요.
그래서 동정심에 이 사건을 맡은 거야?
Artem falls silent for a moment. A dark cloud drifts across the sky, blocking out the sun and momentarily dimming the office.
동정보다는 약자를 위해 누군가 나서서 더 공정한 결과를 얻어내길 바라는 마음이에요. 그 사람이 내가 아니더라도 말이죠.
As sunlight suddenly appears, Artem turns his head to look out the window, his gaze following the dark clouds that have already drifted into the distance. Celestine chuckles and glances at Artem playfully. Artem feels uneasy under her gaze, and he can already guess what Celestine is about to say. Sure enough, she begins to tease him before he can do anything about it.
어쩐지 중요한 사건을 자꾸 맡기더라니 생각하는 게 비슷하네.
Having said that, she deliberately glances towards the doorway. Artem doesn't respond. He looks down at the case file again, but fails to take in a single word.
오늘 여기 온 이유가 그것 때문인가요?
날 내보내기 전에 할 말이 있어.
Celestine hands the folder to Artem, raising her eyebrows to signal him to open it. After opening it, he finds several resumes.
파트너 구하는 일 생각해봤어? 내가 엄선해서 골랐어. 네 파트너로 충분히 자격이 있으니까 어울리는 사람이 있는지 잘 봐봐.
전에 이 문제에 대해 이미 논의했던 걸로 기억하는데 아직은 생각 없어요.
He closes the folder and tosses it aside without looking at it again.
제가 알아서 할게요.
거절하는 거니? 아이 참, 내가 네 실력을 의심하는 건 아니야.
Sultan reaches out and gives the towering stack of documents and keys files on the desk a couple of taps. Since Knuckles can't make any sound against paper, she gestures to the stack before withdrawing her hand.
서류에만 파묻혀 있으니 이러다 테미스가 변호사를 착취한다는 소문이 날 거야.
농담하지 마요.
Artem rubs his temples helplessly, pondering how to show her out. Celestine clearly hasn't realized this and even leans in closer as if remembering something.
혹시 마음에 든 사람이 있는 거야? 혹시 그 사람?
뭐라고요?
Artem is stunned by Celestine's words. If it was her... He doesn't continue that train of thought, but Celestine has already taken it and ran with it.
신입이긴 하지만 전반적인 실력이 꽤 괜찮아서 앞으로가 기대되는 인재야. 네 파트너가 된다면 나도 안심이 될 것 같아.
Celestine continues on without pause, rambling about the girl's good qualities. Artem unconsciously glances in the direction of the girl she mentioned, but the wall blocks his view so he can't see anything beyond it.
내 말 듣고 있어? 도대체 뭘 생각하고 있는 거야?
He withdraws his keys, shakes his head, and gives no answer, just like every time before. He is not against choosing her as his partner. He wants to work with someone who has the same ideals, but Autumn stops the thought right there, feeling that it would strip her of the freedom of the night sky like a cloud that had been blown down to earth. Will it fall into his hands? Or will she ascend back to her own sky after a brief fall? He doesn't know the answer. Perhaps he should let the cloud remain in the sky until he figures it out. Artem's office. It is already late at night when Artem finishes organizing the evidence needed for the second trial. This marks his 13th consecutive hour of work. It is pouring outside the window. Raindrops pound against the glass, making the night seem a little less lonely. Artem rubs his neck, the soreness of the nap reminding him that it's time to rest. He stands up and is about to go to the pantry, where he remembers some refreshing drinks are being stocked. Public area. Most of the lights in the law firm are off, but a small area on the entire floor is still lit, which immediately attracts his attention.
저 사람은
Autumn's voice is so soft that it seems to dissolve into the stillness. He has already stopped, but the girl hasn't noticed him. Autumn stands in the shadows and quietly watches her from behind as she edits something on her computer. That should also be a pro bono case, one that she got from Celestine as Artem remembers. Artem lets out another sigh. Before he knows it, he is already frowning. Is he worried about her lack of progress, or simply concerned that staying up so late would take a toll on her health? The sudden vibration of his phone interrupts his thoughts. He looks down. It's a call from the witness. The vibration rings remarkably clearly in the air. The girl looks up from her work and turns her head in confusion, meeting Artem's gaze. She looks taken aback for a second, seemingly surprised to see him at this hour. Artem nods at her before answering the phone.
여보세요? 접니다.
Pantry. All kinds of drinks are neatly arranged on the pantry shelf, but Artem has no intention of looking for something that he wants. The witness is explaining the situation over the phone. He is a security guard near the scene whom Artem had given his contact info to during his previous investigation.
CCTV 말씀하시는 건가요?
맞아요. 이 근처는 원래 CCTV가 없는데 마침 그때 근처에 SUV 한 대가 주차돼 있었어요. 오늘도 여기 세워져 있길래 낯이 익어서 차주가 왔을 때 한마디 해봤더니 정말 그때 그 차였어요.
Artem understands what the witness is trying to say. If he can obtain the incident footage from the dash camera, it will be more favorable for Jesse's defense.
알겠습니다. 차주가 지금 옆에 있나요?
Artem hears a faint noise nearby, but he is too busy asking questions over the phone to look for its source.
네. 상황 설명했더니 차량 블랙박스 영상을 제공하겠다고 하는데
The witness pauses for a moment, then lets out another sigh.
출장 때문에 내일 아침 7시 비행기를 타야 해서 오늘 밤 말고는 시간이 없대요.
지금요?
A blinding flash of lightning cuts through the sky, followed by a deafening clap of thunder. Artem looks out his window as the rain grows heavier.
알겠습니다. 최대한 빨리 가겠습니다.
After giving a brief response, Artem pauses for a moment before adding,
30분이면 충분해요.
After ending the call, Artem hurries towards the elevator while mentally going over the procedures. He suddenly stops short after a few steps. The contract dispute he's been working on is almost wrapped up, but he still needs to review the new contract. Perhaps this would be another sleepless night, Artem thinks as he notices one umbrella leaning against the pantry wall.
이건
There was no umbrella when he came to the pantry. Artem looks toward that spot, but the girl is already gone.
파트너.
The barely audible murmur fades into the silence. He holds the umbrella, the expression on his face instantly softening. The sound of rain has never been so clear, drowning out the beating of a heart moved by this night. Artem smiles to himself, perhaps because of the unopened umbrella, or perhaps because of this brief pause in his busy schedule. He picks up the umbrella and he leaves the law firm, braving the dark night and pouring rain. Hospital corridor. As Artem walks out of the consultation room with the diagnosis report, Celestine happens to return with the medicine. The plastic bag sways and rustles with her movements. Artem takes the medicine from her, reconfirms the medical advice, and puts the report inside the bag.
고마워요.
의사 선생님이 뭐래?
급성 위험이에요. 심각하진 않으니 약 좀 먹고 푹 쉬면 괜찮을 거래요.
그래, 어서 집에 가서 쉬도록 해.
But Artem shakes his head and lifts his hand to check the time.
오늘 예진 씨와 면담 약속이 있어서 만난 뒤에 퇴근할게요.
As he speaks, Artem has already started walking towards the main entrance, with Celestine following after him. Knowing that Artem won't change his mind once it's made up, Celestine opens her mouth to say something but doesn't try to stop him.
곧 재판이 시작되는데 예진 씨의 사건이 중요한 고비에 와 있어요.
Artem's point is pretty clear. As an old friend, Celestine understands his commitment to justice, but he seems to care too little about his own health. Celestine raises her finger in exasperation, ready to jab it at him and scold him back to his senses. But she quickly realizes that it would be inappropriate to do that in a hospital, so she settles for putting a hand on her forehead and sighing, heavily.
은우야, 내가 뭐라고 하는 게 아니라 됐어. 다음번에 구급차 실려 병원에 가봐야 정신 차리겠지. 선생님이 네 근황을 물어보시면 내가 숨겨줄 거라고 생각하지 마.
제가 말할게요.
그게 중요한 게 아니잖아. 말 돌리지 마. 진심으로 하는 말인데 네가 초인도 아닌데 모든 걸 혼자서 짊어질 순 없어. 누군가 도와준다면 여러모로 훨씬 편해질 거야.
The plastic bag continues to rustle as Celestine crosses her arms and glances at it, her tone softening.
적어도 오늘은 병원 신세 안 져야 해.
주의할게요.
Autumn's brief response makes her glance at him helplessly. She pauses for a moment, discreetly glancing at Artem before carefully choosing her next words.
사실 그 아이 파트너로 고려해 본 적 있지? 일부러 사건 진행 상황도 물어봤으면서 직접 물어보지 그랬어.
그 사람 실력이면 알아서 잘 해결할 텐데 제가 너무 신경 쓰면 오히려 부담스러워할지도 몰라요.
그 애의 실력은 인정하는 것 같네.
선배, 저는 그 사람의 실력을 부정한 적 없어요.
그럼 뭘 망설이는 거야?
Artem purses his lips. Just as Celestine said, he is indeed hesitant.
제 파트너가 된다는 게 그게 뭘 의미하는지 아세요?
네가 맡은 사건들은 대체로 복잡한 편이라 곁에서 일하면 많은 걸 배울 수 있고 시행착오도 줄일 수 있을 거야. 그리고 너랑 파트너가 되면 평판도 더 빨리 쌓고 인맥도 넓힐 수 있지. 신입한테는 이만한 성장 기회도 없어. 물론 나도 그 애가 네 파트너가 되고 싶어 한다고 해도 그게 전부는 아닐 거라고 생각해. 근데 너도 네가 가진 걸 아끼는 사람은 아니잖아.
그렇지만 이런 모든 장점은 양날의 검과도 같죠.
뭐라고?
Celestine gives Artem a puzzled look, not understanding what he meant.
평판이란 건 과도한 기대를 동반하기 마련이고 인맥이란 것도 불필요한 관심을 의미하죠. 그리고 너무 빠르게 성장했을 때 그에 따른 외부의 의심도 따라오게 돼요. 당신이 이룬 업적은 모두 백은우 씨 덕분인가요? 라고 말이죠.
As they approach the end of the corridor, the smell of disinfectant in the hospital gradually fades. Artem's face remains blank, but the grip his fingers have on the plastic bag tightens slightly.
기대, 관심, 심지어 의심까지. 이런 것들은 변호사가 앞으로 나아가는 길에서 반드시 직면해야 할 어려움이에요. 그렇지만 그 사람이 나 때문에 이런 일을 겪어서는 안 돼요.
Outside the clinic. With a burst of white light, Dave passed through the corridor and exited the hospital building. Artem is unable to drive due to his current health condition. He stands by the road to hail a taxi, and the app says it will arrive in 2 minutes. He puts away his phone and gazes at the nearby traffic.
실력 있는 것 뻔히 아니까 애초에 걱정할 이유도 없죠. 제가 걱정하는 건 백은후의 파트너가 된다는 그 사실 자체예요.
Celestine looks at Artem thoughtfully, neither convinced nor quick to argue. A taxi quickly pulls up in front of them, and Celestine remains silent until Artem gets in. But before the taxi leaves, Celestine knocks on the passenger side window, and when the driver lowers it, she leans in.
기사님, 이 사람 환자니까 천천히 가주세요.
네.
After that, Celestine doesn't leave, but instead turns to look at Artem, who is sitting in the back seat.
은우야, 설마 그 애가 네 그림자를 넘어서지 못할 거라고 생각하는 거야?
Celestine isn't looking for an answer, and after seeing Artem's momentary hesitation, she continues speaking.
아직 결정하지 못했다면 굳이 강요하진 않을게. 좀 더 시간이 걸리더라도 괜찮아.
감사합니다.
천만에. 그럼 의뢰인을 만나고 바로 집으로 가. 난 먼저 사무소로 돌아가 볼게.
Artem nods. As the car starts and enters the main road, the small space falls silent, with only the faint sound of breathing to be heard. His stomach still aches. Artem puts the medicine bag next to him and turns to look out the window. The trees merge into one continuous canopy, and the fleeting shadow of a bird flies by. But he feels something trace softly across his heart. Outside the courthouse. The second trial of Jesse's case finally comes to an end. Despite the prosecution's relentless pressure in court, Artem still pulls off a very strong defense. Finally, the court rules that her self-defense is justified and that she is not criminally liable. The journalists have been waiting outside the courthouse, and when Artem comes out, he is greeted by a sea of cameras and microphones.
백 변호사님, 이 사건을 맡으신 이유가 무엇인가요?
어떻게 준비하셨나요? 검찰 측의 신문에 흔들린 적은 없으신가요?
백 변호사님, 이 사건을 맡으실 때 피해자의 심정은 고려하신 건가요? 들리는 바로는 방금 생명의 위험에서 벗어났다고 하던데요.
Bombarded by various questions, Artem slightly lowers his eyes.
죄송하지만 말씀드릴 수 없습니다.
Artem makes his way through the crowd, walking briskly towards the parking lot. But the journalists clearly don't want to let him go, blocking every path to the parking lot. Everyone present hopes to dig something out from Artem about his choices and his victory. He is used to scenes like this, dealing with the journalists while squeezing his way through the crowd. Inside the car. The journalists finally clear a path when Artem starts the engine and he drives off. Artem glances at the crowd he has left behind in the rear view mirror. His phone vibrates. It's a call from Celestine. Artem connects to the Bluetooth.
무슨 일이에요?
승소했다고 들었어. 축하해.
할 말 더 없으면 이만 끊을게요.
아, 잠깐만. 그의 재판도 오늘이라는 거 알고 있지?
Artem is taken aback, remembering that it's indeed today. If it weren't for his own case being in court today, he might have gone to watch this trial.
긴 말 안 할게. 이겼어. 지금 네 사무실에서 기다리고 있으니 너도 빨리 와.
알겠어요.
Pantry. When Artem returns to the law firm, his colleagues are gathered in the pantry, their casual chatter drifting to his ears.
신입 변호사가 승소했어요. 완벽한 승리였죠.
정말요? 요즘 야근이 많았다고 하던데 고생 많았겠어요.
그러니까요. 경력은 아직 짧아도 법정에선 완전 노련했어요. 진짜 엄청나게 노력한 거겠죠.
Artem already knew who they were talking about, but she herself isn't among them. But he can imagine how she will react to those comments, and he starts imagining the whole thing in his mind.
어? 백 변호사님 오셨어요?
A colleague who is chatting casually notices Artem and calls out to him.
네,
Artem realizes that he has stopped here for a while. He responds softly, but instead of leaving right away, he unusually joins in the conversation.
오늘 그분과 함께 재판에 참석했나요?
맞아요. 처음으로 공익 사건을 맡게 된 데다가 이건 또 워낙 까다로워서 얘기 듣고 좀 걱정했어요. 근데 내가 너무 얕봤어요. 실력이 대단했어요.
Artem's eyes shift a little, and he could almost see her arguing her case logically in the court from what his colleagues had said about her.
그 사람은
Before he can finish his sentence, Artem pauses. He unconsciously glances towards the office, knowing he would see her soon. If he wants to praise her, he might as well wait until then and say it to her in person. Artem changes the subject.
수고했어요.
동료니까 도울 수 있는 만큼 돕는 거죠.
The colleague with her hands looking Artem up and down, as if suddenly remembering something, a flash of surprise crosses her eyes.
백 변호사님, 신입한테 이렇게 관심을 보이시는 건 처음인 것 같네요.
기대를 좀 하고 있긴 해요.
Artem admits it frankly and then suddenly recalls Celestine's question to him at the hospital entrance. Do you really think she can't outshine you? After many days, Artem finally has a clear answer to this question. She certainly won't be tied down by him, and perhaps she won't even be overshadowed by his reputation or his achievements. Whether it's expectation, attention, or doubt, she can surely handle it all well.
죄송하지만 아직 일이 있어서 이만 가보겠습니다.
He stops chatting with his colleague and turns towards his office, where someone is waiting for him. Artem's office. As he pushes open the door, Artem first sees a familiar silhouette. The girl hears the sound and turns around, greeting him as usual. Welcome back, Mr. Wing. He places his briefcase on the sofa, loosens his tie, and nods in response.
마침 계셨네요. 일이 있어서 찾고 있었어요.
Artem gets straight to the point, not even waiting for a questioning look to appear on the girl's face.
전에 한번 말했었는데 파트너가 필요해요. 제 생각엔 당신이 적합할 것 같아요.
Artem extends the invitation and then asks, "You can refuse?" But the girl says yes, as if she has been waiting for this moment all along. Can a cloud really be blown down? Perhaps the wind was too strong when he glances at her, causing him to hallucinate. She is off the sky, whether hovering above his head or drifting into the distance in pursuit of her dreams. Auditorium. The speech concludes successfully amidst enthusiastic applause from a fellow alumni. You bow to the audience and are about to leave. As you turn, you see Artem waiting for you backstage, and you meet his gaze. It is a gaze that you've seen many times before. Artem has always watched you like this, whether you're discussing solutions with the clients, searching for evidence, or standing in court with him seated in the gallery. You quickly walk up to him. As the applause dies down and the next event starts, you are no longer the center of attention.
잘했어요. 긴장한 기색이 전혀 보이지 않던걸요?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, but I pulled it off better than expected. Artem holds your hand, wiping away the cold sweat from your palm with his warm fingers. He stands in the shadows while you are bathed in the bright lights of the auditorium.
지금 생각해보면 그때 내가 했던 걱정은 모두 쓸데없는 것이었어요.
Artem reaches out and strokes your hair, as if caressing the light that has fallen upon your head. I'm so glad to be your partner. If you hadn't made that decision back then, we wouldn't have been through so much together. Another speech starts interrupting your talk about the partner thing. Just as you think you've understood what Artem was thinking back then, he suddenly reaches out and pulls you closer to him. Both of you fall into the shadows, and in the next moment, Artem pulls you towards the exit of the auditorium.
나가서 좀 걸을까요?
Campus. The anniversary celebrations are in full swing as you two stroll near the law school, where many students who know Artem cast glances at him. Artem quickens his pace while pulling you along and lowers his head to whisper in your ear.
조금 있으면 열정 넘치는 후배들이 우리를 둘러쌀 거예요. 많은 걸 물어볼 거라 답변하는데 시간이 좀 걸릴 거예요.
This happens every time we come back to the university. You must be used to it by now.
그러니 그 전에 조용한 곳을 찾아볼까요? 당신한테 말하고 싶은 비밀이 하나 더 있어요.
You both turn towards a quiet path away from the open gates. Campus Park. The campus park isn't the main venue for the anniversary. Only a few students are hanging out here, making it much quieter than the main venue. You pull Artem down to sit on the bench and gently lean against his shoulder. A long time ago, you were sitting here as well. At that time, you didn't understand his intentions. Did you specifically choose this place to tell me that secret?
네, 학교 전체를 통틀어서 여기보다 더 적절한 장소는 없을 것 같아요.
Then, what's the secret? A leaf falls slowly and lightly from the branch, and Artem opens his palm to catch it.
내가 마지막으로 파트너를 선택한 이유에 관한 거예요.
Huh? You look up in surprise as the leaf slips from his palm and falls onto the grass.
예진 씨의 사건을 2심에서 승소한 뒤 내 생각을 잘 알지도 못하면서 속내를 캐보려는 사람들이 나를 에워쌌어요. 전에도 그랬지만 이번에도 또 남일처럼 시끄러운 한가운데에 있는 느낌이었어요.
You've also been in situations where journalists bombarded you with questions after court hearings, sometimes even together with Artem. The microphone amplifies even the faintest sound, while the camera flashes are like eyes, capturing every single movement. But most of the questions aren't about the case, they're just trying to get some front page worthy opinions out of you.
그래서 제가 사무소로 돌아와서 당신이 저를 기다리고 있는 걸 봤을 때 갑자기 제 마음대로 하고 싶다는 욕심이 생겼어요.
Selfish how? His arm rests on the back of the bench as he leans in, occupying most of your vision.
나와 뜻이 맞는 사람이 내 선택을 이해하고 내가 추구하는 것과 고집을 이해해 주길 바랐어요. 캐묻기 위해서가 아니라 그냥 승소에 기쁘고 뿌듯한 마음을 같이 나누고 싶었고요. 가능하다면 그런 사람이 파트너였으면 했죠.
The distance between you two becomes closer as Artem gently rests his head on your shoulder, drawing close to your ear.
그리고 마치 운명처럼 그 사람이 당신이라는 걸 알았어요.
You both have been through dark nights and storms on the path forward. Just when you think you have to tough it out alone, another soul mirroring your own shows up. You love how he is like you and how he is not. You love his unwavering decisiveness as well as his occasional hesitation. So at this moment, now that you know the whole story, you want to tell him. Actually, even before you invited me to be your partner, when I first learned that you might be looking for a partner, deep down, I started hoping that person was me. A kiss lands on your cheek, and the next moment you feel Artem hug you. Under the shade of trees, fragments of sunlight dance upon you, casting tiny spots of light. You just embrace each other like this, defying the crowd and the noise, as if this embrace could last an eternity.